And welcome back to Claire's Clues. On today's video, we're going to be talking about the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. See, at the beginning of this book, he asks us, what are habits? And you might be asking this yourself. And a good answer to that would be to say, reliable solutions to reoccurring problems in our environment. So things that we always turn to help solve certain situations and certain problems. Things that we can rely on. That's what these habits are. Now he goes on to talk about aggregation of marginal gains. And the quick summary of this is that 1% change in every single category changes the bigger thing, changes the bigger picture. And he also says that small changes add up over time. So what this means is that what you'll find with every little thing that we do, it'll start to compound. Now, I've already spoken about this in the compounding effect, but what it means is that for every little action that we take, if we continuously do this over and over and over again, you'll find that the result will start to be adding up. And a good example of this would be a puzzle. Like puzzle pieces fit into one another and they're all quite small. But at the end of it, once you've put that whole puzzle together, you'll find that the big picture is that of a really big one. So, like I said, little pieces add up. The little things over time start to create a bigger picture. So for every little thing that we do, it'll start resulting in the bigger result or the end result that we're looking for. Now he moves on to something that we talk about here, saying outcome, process, and identity habits. So these three habits are very key to basically understanding what it is that he's talking about here. Now the first one being outcome. So this means changing the result and how we can do that. So he starts with an acronym, and an acronym being SMART. So the S standing for specific. We need to be very specific when making our change or our outcome for our goals. He goes on to make sure to say that the M is measurable. So make sure your goals are measurable and that you're constantly going back and checking on them. A is actionable. Can you take action upon whatever it is you need to do in order to achieve your goals, to get you down the path of success or whatever outcome that you're looking for? Now, R is realistic. Are your goals realistic? This is the question you should be asking yourself no matter what. No matter how big or small your goals are, understand that we all need to ask ourselves, are they achievable? Are they realistic? Can they actually be done? Now, moving on to T, it says time bound. What is the time limit you've put on your goal? What end result are you looking for in a certain time period? You need to be able to put a time or a date on it to understand that way you have something to achieve within a certain period of time. Not whenever I feel like it or I'll get to it eventually, because these things lead us to the inevitable path of not actually achieving much at all, if anything. So that acronym, guys, is being SMART. So S is specific, M is measurable, A is actionable, R is realistic, and T being time bound. Now moving on to number 2, it says process habits. So what he says about this, he says change the process and then you'll get the result. So changing the process means that you'll find an easier or better way to do something that is more attainable or achievable. And in which case, getting you to the result far faster or far quicker than what you would have initially gotten to. So by changing our process, we enable ourselves to get the result that we're looking for in a much faster time period. Now moving on to number 3, guys, he talks about identity. So identity being to change or fix your beliefs. Now what he means by this is he says wealth and freedom. So change your identity by changing your beliefs. So our beliefs are our core, the reason why we do certain things. This is also known as our paradigm. So he says step 1 is to decide what you want to be. Understand that we all need some end goal in mind, a big picture. And have a look at it. What is it that you want to be? Who do you want to be? What do you want to achieve? So by asking these questions, you're able to help work out what it is your end goal would look like. Where you want to be in life, what you want that to look like. It's all up to you. That's your imagination can run wild. You can do just about anything. You just have to put your mind to it. And second step is that you need to prove it to yourself with small wins. So what he means by this is that make sure that you've put in actionable steps, things that you can take every single day to get you towards your goal. And along the way, when you start succeeding at these little steps, after a while, maybe every 10 steps or so, you'll find that you can start rewarding yourself or putting in small wins. Things where it'll keep you on track and it'll keep you going in the right direction. Things that make you feel good or, reward you for doing the things that you thought you might not have been able to do. So say after those 10 steps, once you've achieved them, you might not have thought you could have done it, but you get there at the end and then you realize, hey, I actually got through 10 steps. So what are you going to do? You're going to go reward yourself for doing something you never thought was possible. And once you have that reward, once you've gotten through that, you can then take the next 10 steps. Break it down even more if you have to, because whatever it is manageable for you is what will work. If you overstep and you overestimate what it is you can achieve, you'll find you'll start letting yourself down and you'll start feeling miserable and as if you don't want to do any more, which is not what we want. We want everyone to keep moving forward. So in order to do that, we need to be able to take manageable bites, bite-sized pieces where we can keep taking step after step and not feel discouraged, not feel as if we're not doing the right thing or we're not doing enough. So make sure that even if it's 5 steps, even if it's 2, build in rewards, build in small wins for yourself, that way enabling you to keep going forward, making sure that you still feel as if you're on the right track to where you want to go. All right, and last but not least, guys, he says have evidence for these. Have evidence for the fact that you've decided who you want to be. So write it down. Make sure you've got it out somewhere. Look at it every day. Revise it. Go over it. Change it if you have to. And also for the second step, make sure you've got evidence for it. Prove it to yourself. So make sure that you've got evidence of this proof. Make sure you've got evidence of your wins. So this way enabling you to look back and say, look how far I've come. Look what I've done. The things that I never thought I could do, and I've done them. This is proof to yourself. And like I said, moving on to the next part, he talks about laws of habit creation. So these are the things that help to create habits. Number 1 is to make it obvious. Make your habit obvious, whatever it is that you want to achieve. Number 2 is make it attractive. So make sure that you actually have some idea of, well, not necessarily idea, but you have some involvement of what it is you want to do. You are attracted to the idea of what it might be for you. Number 3 is make it easy. So make it simple. Make sure that you can actually achieve it. Make sure that you can take that first step. Make sure that you're getting there and you're saying, yes, I can do this. This is easy enough. I could, do this blindfolded. And fourth and last on that one, guys, is make it satisfying. Make sure that you're enjoying what it is that you do. Make sure you feel gratified doing what it is. And whatever that might be for you, make sure that you're enjoying it along the way. And to reverse it is to change it. So if you want to change these habits, if you want to break them, turn them around. Make sure that the ones that are obvious aren't obvious at all. The ones that are attractive, make them unattractive. And the same goes for easy and satisfying. Make it difficult for yourself to do the things that you thought you wanted to, that you don't want to do. And make them unsatisfying. Don't feel that, you can get gratification from it if you want to break a habit. Because it's like eating ice cream. If you feel satisfied from eating it, that's fine. But if you don't want to keep eating ice cream and you want to start going to the gym, if you want to start losing weight, you need to start looking at the ice cream as a negative response, as something that, isn't satisfying. It doesn't satisfy you. It doesn't make you feel good. Something that isn't easy to do. So throw it out. Get rid of it. Make it unattractive. Maybe put a photo of yourself of what you look like now and pictures of what you want to look like in the future. Put that up and look at it all the time, and then consider yourself every time you go to eat that ice cream, do you really want to stay where you are, or do you want to make that change? And same goes for making it obvious. Make it unobvious. Make it, so just, whatever, that you don't even recognize it. So all this combined, understand that you can change your habits and you can make and break good and bad habits. So I'll quickly recap all this for you guys. It starts off with what are habits, and habits are reliable solutions to reoccurring problems in our environment. Now he goes on to talk about aggregation of marginal gains, and this is where 1% change in every category changes the bigger picture. So even small changes add up over time. And this is where we talked about the puzzle. Small pieces add up to the big picture, and the compound effect does take place. So bit by bit we find ourselves getting down the track, and when we look back we realize, hey, I've put so many pieces together, or I've done so much, And all it took was one step at a time. Now, moving on, he also talks about outcome, process, and identity habits. The first one being outcome. So how to change the results. So he talks about the acronym, SMART, and the S being specific. So we need to be specific on our goals. The M being measurable, so make sure they are measurable and we can go over them and look back and change them if we have to. A is actionable, so make sure we can take actionable steps, achievable steps every day. And then the R is realistic, so make sure that they are, like I said, achievable and realistic. Make sure that you can accomplish them. Make sure they're not, I want to make $10 million tomorrow, because that's not realistic. Realistic would be, hey, in about 10 years' time, I want to be able to have made $10 million and this is how I'm going to get there. And T is time bound. So like I just said, you put a time limit on it. So like I said, just 10 years. 10 years from now, you say, I want to be, I think I said 10 years. 10 years from now, you want to make $10 million. And it is achievable, but make sure you've got a time limit on it. Otherwise, we'll find that we put things off so long that we don't get the chance to actually do them. Therefore, looking back, even in 20, 30, 40 years and go, I never did that thing, did I? I never got around to starting it because I was just too busy, doing the little mediocre things that I do every other day of the week. Now, moving on to process number 2, which is process habits. So change the process and then you can change the result. So whatever it is you're doing, make sure that you're making the right decisions in that moment, enabling you to get the result you want to get. Number 3 is identity. So fixing our beliefs, changing our beliefs, whatever they may be. If they're not benefiting us, then they're not doing us any good. So he talks about wealth and freedom. So change your identity to change your beliefs. Change who you are and ask yourself, number 1, decide who it is you want to be. Understand that we all have an idea of who it is we want to be. So just get a picture of that, map it out, write it out, draw it out, whatever it might be, cut out some pictures, stick them on a wall. Have an idea of what it is you want to be, 10, 20, 30 years from now. Or by the time you're 60 or 70, whatever that is for you, make sure you've got an idea of that. And decide on it. Be decisive. And number 2 is prove it to yourself with small wins. Make sure that you've woven in small wins and, little rewards here and there for doing the things that you weren't thinking, that you didn't think were possible. Things that you didn't think that you could actually achieve. And make sure you've got evidence for these 2 guys. Make sure you've got evidence for the person that you want to be and evidence for the fact that you did achieve, all those steps and that you did deserve that reward. Make sure you have that evidence. And last but not least, the laws of habit creation, which are 1, make it obvious, 2, make it attractive, 3, make it easy, and 4, make it satisfying. And reverse it to change it. So if you want to break habits, just think the opposite of all of these. All right, that's all from me tonight, guys. I'll leave it with you. Until next time, we're making a lot more of these videos with this training series to help you with your personal development goals. But until next time, leave a comment below on what you like the most, and I look forward to seeing you next time in Claire's Clues. Bye!